Good morning and hello everybody. Welcome back. This is another edition of Orchid Day. This is Terry. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about my resting dendrobiums. Now I've got several different kinds of dendrobiums. I've got my dendrobiums that do not rest. They continue to get water. For instance, my this color over there, all of my Laturia dendrobiums scattered around. This one, they never quit getting water. Then I have some dendrobiums that are resting, which is what I'm talking about today. And this is one that is not in the section. This is a den fowl. Den fowls, in my experience, when they are not actively growing, they are resting. And so this one probably should be getting a little bit slightly cooler, but still warm, but cooler than normal. Higher light for sure, and no water and no fertilizer, which is where I keep my primarily collection of resting orchids down here in the east end of my greenhouse, where it is a lot cooler, further from the main heater, which is at that end of the greenhouse. Gets a lot of light down in this area, lots of morning light and afternoon. So I'm just going to kind of go through some. This is another example of a resting dendrobium, but I would say it's a semi-resting dendrobium. This is my Dendrobium munificum. This still gets water, no fertilizer, it gets water. So technically it is not a full resting dendrobium. Now, my full resting dendrobiums are mostly over here in this area. Now, meaning full resting, they primarily only get misted. They do not get dunked. They don't get anything other than mist, no fertilizer. And so I have a few here. This is my falconeri that's hanging here. You can see how dry it looks. These generally bloom in the late winter into spring on a lateral spike, big, fleshy, purple and white flower that is fragrant. And then after it blooms, it generally will start putting out new growths from the base. That is pretty much the habit of all of these flowers. Their growth habit is they start growing in the spring after a dormancy, after they bloom, or at the same time. That is when you start watering them. And when their growths mature, or when their leaves start to yellow and brown out, that's when you back off on watering until they have a complete dry period where they don't get any water or fertilizer. Watering and fertilizing, over watering and fertilizing during that period will amount to receiving kikis rather than blooms. Cooler temperatures also help with some of these plants, which is why they are here. I would start out with that aphyllum. Well, I did start out with my falconeri over here, but my aphyllum is up there on that mount. It's tree fern. It's kind of light as bad up there, but it's up there. Nonetheless, I've had that for many years. But anyway, it looks kind of spindly. Still has some leaves on it. These plants are mostly from Asia, Vietnam, China, Thailand, from moderate lowland to moderate, sometimes up into the Himalayas, particularly some of the cooler growing deciduous plants. I guess there is another deciduous plant that I forget about. That's my Lindley aggregatum, which is, I won't even count that. It's right back there with that one green leaf, but I will not even count that because it's recovering. But yeah, my purardii or aphyllum is over there. It blooms for me every year, even though it looks kind of scraggly. My pendulum is right here. It is looking like it's putting up a new growth up there, but you can see some of the leaves are still yellowing. The newest growths are the ones on this side of the plant. It did put up 2 growths this season. Then in front of me right here, I have a Primulinum cross that is supposedly in dormancy, but you can see it is putting up new growths all over the plant, along with some out of season blooms. So I'm not sure what is going on with that plant, because all of these plants really do not get any water. They're really only getting misting over in this area, no fertilizer. In addition, I have hanging on here, this is my Bensonii, which is a really nice medium size, if I could get it out of the way of my Falconieri. This is one that I got from Andy's, nice roots. Doesn't have to be so big to bloom. Nice white fragrant flowers that come from the top of the canes. And then back here is my Devonianum, which doesn't look like much, but it is a deciduous, sometimes lithophytic, but mostly epiphytic plant. All of these can be lithophytic as well. Let me see about some other ones that may be. My Docrillas over here, at one time I thought that they were not deciduous, but wanted a dormant rest. But since I've had them, I have grown to know that they prefer to be watered more than not. No fertilizer, but they get water. Probably the last one over here that would technically be a resting Dendrobium would be my Nobile here that I just pulled out of a dumpster at one of the spring shows, and I really meant to give it away, but it put up some nice fat growths this season, so I kept it, and it is in dormancy. Generally these are grown the same way, copious amounts of water when they start to grow, highlight in the morning, and at least 3 to 4 hours of direct sun a day, and heavy watering throughout the summer growth season. Then as the growths mature in the fall, back off on the watering, cut down on the fertilizer until they're getting nothing. By the end of January, February, they're getting nothing. And then when you start to see new growths, new roots, I'd wait till they get about this big before I'd start to commence regular style watering and fertilizing, but that's the appropriate time to do so. And I believe that's probably it for my resting type Dendrobiums. It's gotta be. So yeah, folks, if you've enjoyed my video, please press the like button and subscribe. And thank you all for watching.